Hello everyone and welcome to the Adam Kiss Show. Today I'm going to take you deep into the depths of the dangerous world of film noir, with one of the great film noirs of all time, The Big Sleep. Now in this movie, Humphrey Bogart stars as the famed detective Marlowe, and Bacall is also in the movie, so it's a Bogart and Bacall movie. They were obviously married until Bogart died. He was much younger than her. But they definitely were a great team on and off the screen. So very excited to get into this incredible movie. And definitely, before we do, take a moment, please subscribe to the channel, hit that bell notification so you're updated whenever we upload a new video. We got plenty of great content coming your way. And definitely leave me a comment on what other videos you'd like me to do. All right, let's get into The Big Sleep. So The Big Sleep was directed by Howard Hawks, absolutely great, legendary film director, certainly directed some of my favorite movies, very versatile also. He did, noirs, he did screwball comedies, he did westerns, he kind of did it all. So very versatile, something that you don't see too much with directors today. Like today, you often see a movie and it can be in the style of a great director. A lot of the big directors today have a certain style or they have a certain subject matter. That you always know that, if you see a few minutes of a movie and you know something about movies and you've watched a lot of them, then you probably know who made it without even seeing any credits. Just based on the subject matter, the style, the visual style, the style of the story, all of that. But, a lot of those old directors, they were very versatile, and I really admire that much more, honestly, like a Howard Hawks or a Michael Curtiz. I mean, Michael Curtiz was the same. I mean, he directed things like as versatile as Captain Blood to Casablanca. I believe Captain Blood was 36, Casablanca was 42. I mean, on the one hand, this pirate movie that's a period piece. On the other hand, a movie about World War II. He did all kinds of things, love stories, other kinds of stories. He did an Elvis movie, King Creole. So Michael Curtiz was another one who did all kinds of stuff like that. But getting back into The Big Sleep, so I mentioned it starring Bogart and Bacall. I believe they were married shortly after the filming, but they were already having an affair, obviously. They had already starred before in To Have and Have Not, which was based on the Hemingway story, which is also a great movie. I think that Hawks mentioned that was definitely a better movie than the book, and I'm a big fan of Hemingway. Hemingway is definitely one of my favorite novelists. He definitely completely redefined the genre from being the more ornate, European style of literature to being the very simple prose, which I like both styles. I like the old style too. I mean, some of my favorite authors and some of my favorite literature is 19th century literature. So the great thing is that I love Hemingway and I also love the era that preceded him. But, getting back to The Big Sleep, so it's one of those movies that people get confused watching. The plot is very convoluted, even for a noir. And the funny thing is that, even Howard Hawks said he didn't understand it. And at one point, I believe him and Bogart wrote to Raymond Chandler, the author of the original, of the character of Marlowe in the books. They wrote asking about, if a certain character was murdered or it was suicide. And he wrote back, I have no idea, or something like that. So even the author didn't know. The funny thing is that Howard Hawks said after this movie that he understood that audiences don't really need to understand the plot. As long as you entertain them and they're entertained and everything, the plot doesn't really matter, which I totally agree with. I mean, this movie is all about the mood, the style. If you start tearing apart the plot, it won't really make sense. It kind of unravels. I believe in the book, maybe it makes a little bit more sense, but in the movie, things can kind of unravel. So it's really just about going with the flow. You have to really suspend your disbelief with this movie, and it's really one of the all-time great noirs. Everyone really gives a great performance. It's, twisting and turning, and to the point where you just have to sit back, relax, and enjoy. It's just escapist entertainment at that point. I believe that a lot of this actually ended up on the cutting room floor, a lot of the scenes. Hawks actually ended up deleting a lot of the scenes that would try to explain more of the plot because he just felt that it would just be better if, let's just not try to pretend to explain. Let's not try to make excuses for the convoluted plot. Let's just own up to it. So it's one of those, and I believe that there was an earlier version that was screened for soldiers in World War II, and then it was released later in the US with some added scenes between Bogart and Bacall, because originally there weren't as many scenes between them, but they liked their chemistry and they ended up adding more of those. And yeah, so it ended up being a great product. I believe I've never seen the original version. I'm sure there's some version of that. I've only seen the regular version from 1946 that was released, that had the wide release and that had all those extra scenes. But yeah, I absolutely love the movie, and that's all I wanted to talk to you about it today. It's definitely one of the great, all-time great noirs. So, that's all for today. Hope you enjoyed this review. Thanks so much for tuning in to the Adam Kiss Show, and definitely comment below what other videos you'd like me to do. Thanks so much, and that's all, folks.